By attending meetings of like the directors of shows when they have their meetings, being present, discussing their plans for the show, what will be in their shows, how they get people to be in their shows, and ensuring that nothing that's, what do you say, hatred is portrayed in their shows. Do we all like sign the list of like what the rules of the uni are? Basically, anything that goes against those rules
30 seconds.
or is discriminatory cannot be displayed in those shows, and we would ensure that these things will not be conveyed, whether through meetings or going higher up if we have to.
Okay. Haroon?
Hey guys, great presentation. How would you deal with a complaint from a student that may have been discriminated against?
First, I'd probably bring it to the committee, the Equality and Diversity Committee. Probably speak to the chair and get advice on how to deal with it. This is something I've never been involved with before. I speak to the previous officers and get advice on how they deal with it, and hopefully we'll find a solution. Help be part of the solution, and making sure that doesn't happen again.
Perfect. Okay, your next question comes from Zook.
I just want to know how you plan to celebrate equality, diversity,
This is something we've been thinking about. Well, keeping up the Facebook idea, like media, we like to just basically display the different varieties of diversity through that, like just have to offer different religions, different like people are excited and like different things, and we like to express that through this Facebook page. Also by campaigning for people that would like help with campaigning for different issues. We do that for Black History Month and so on.
Perfect. Your next question comes from Shash.
Hi guys, I just wanted to ask how you plan on going about making sure that the no platform policy across the performing arts is implemented equally, so that every show is treated equally and impartially with regards to that.
Okay. Basically, we would attend every show as part of our role. We would speak to the directors of those shows and ensure that, again, nothing that incites hatred is portrayed through their shows. We'd also hopefully get advice from previous officers on how this happens, and from people in the Equality and Diversity Committee on what is regarded as hatred and like the boundaries which people can go to subjects.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay. Kat?
Hi guys, you mentioned how we have such a fantastic cultural and religious diversity here at uni. I was wondering how you're going to ensure that members of different cultures and religions receive the same student experience equally as everyone else.
Same student experience. Well, I'm myself a Christian, so I was a Muslim. Well, I feel like I've been treated equally. I think so. I was going to say.
Obviously, we want people who do feel, discriminated based on religion in this university to obviously, firstly, be aware that we exist, and obviously use the Facebook page or get in contact with us through email if Facebook's not appropriate, or if they don't have Facebook, whatever. To obviously get in touch, seek advice from us, and hopefully we can rectify the issue if needed.
Okay. Your next question comes from Faith.
Great presentation. I was going to ask you, what ideas do you have to increase the integration of minority groups?
Well, increasing into what? Into the SU or?
Yeah.
The SU. Well, we could bring this up into a equality and diversity meeting if there is an imbalance in people being recruited for certain roles, or if there's an imbalance in people being recruited in different like shows and so on and so forth. We could bring that up and see if there's something we can do about it. We see it's quite a touchy subject, and we would try and get the best help as possible to deal with that. That helps answer your question.
Thank you. Your next question comes from Natasha.
Hiya. What problems did the current E&D officers face this year, and how do you plan on
Well, I did try getting in touch with the E&D officers this year. They didn't respond. I believe they were on holiday when I tried to get in contact with them from DMAR. So I'm not sure specifically what they had trouble with. So, sorry.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Thank you, guys. We've got events next. So I've got Alia, Fran, Lucy, and Cameron, and Ola, Alex, Natasha. And you guys are?
Alia, Fran.
Should I start there? Fran's going to do the conferences. Can I go there? So you. You guys have 3 minutes. What do we press? Guys, guys, quiet him down.
Hi, we're Alia, Fran, Cam, and Lucy, and we're running to be your events officers next year. We've been really interested in this ever since Freshers Week, and we've been helping out in events such as the Student Showcase and Part 5, and yeah, it's shown that it's really something that we really want to do. So before we went into planning anything major for next year, we're going to take on board all the feedback that's collected this year to make sure that everyone's represented, like the JEPs, the non-drinkers, the commuters, so that they can all enjoy the events too. This would involve liaising with societies. For example, we've talked to some of the members of the CU who said that during Freshers they felt like they didn't enjoy some of the events as much because they felt like they couldn't really meet people as easily as some of the drinkers. So we would look into planning like fun non-drinking events for people to get to know each other easily.
We know that the SU is under financial constraints when it comes to planning events. So ways that we've looked into getting around this, the obvious thing is getting sponsorships from companies, so putting logos on t-shirts, posters, whatever, in return for endorsement. But we've also thought that maybe making themes more predominant, so using decorations, maybe performers or something, if that was possible, sort of like transforming the SU into something exciting to increase turnout, really.
So yeah, talking about some of the ideas we've had for the non-drinking events, we've got a we've got obstacle course Olympics, so students competing against each other. We've if you want to. Oh yeah, we've also got the idea of a tea party, a better way of talking to each other whilst we're not drunk. Movie night, so as I think rag people they said as well, can have a little snuggle and watch something. We also want to incorporate some new ideas for the events as well as the old ones. So we thought a silent disco would be pretty good. We know that it might be expensive, but we've already contacted the company and are waiting to hear back from them. We're also thinking about putting more themes into it, like being a circus or carnival, which will make it more interesting than just turning up to the SU and drinking. So,
some of the events we most enjoyed attending were the ones that marked the end of semesters, like Christmas Disco and Part 5, because everyone's in good spirits and they have really high turnouts. So we look into making these events like some of our biggest and funnest, so everyone can enjoy them.
30 seconds.
Thank you for listening.
I sent him an email as well with cause it's a Prezi.
Oh, is it a Prezi?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
She just drops here. Do you know that? I'll pull that onto this.
No, I'll say it's all over. It's all over.
Do you want me to do the PowerPoint? The point? Huh? No, because I'm saying the least. You should be in the middle. Yeah.
So bring it up and then I'll
Move this way. Mister. No, okay, you move.
You guys ready?
Yeah. Move down.
I need to touch it. I want to feel connected.
Quiet, guys. Yeah. And begin.
Hi guys, I'm Alex,
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Ola.
and we're running to be your SU events officers this year.
So with the issue of events, we realised that themed events got the best reception. So we hope to hold more themed events like a Comic-Con event or a jungle themed event. And we want to focus more on events that focus on less on drinking. So have quiz nights or movie nights in Moncton. And also for the international students, we realised that they didn't know about the start dates for some of the freshers events. So we want to focus on working with international societies or the international reps to ensure that international students coming over know what's going on.
With the issue of advertising, we found that we didn't know about events as well as we could have. So we're going to work on more efficient advertising and posting on year groups, Facebook, society pages. And also we realized that some people do read the newsletter, so we wanted to put it in that as well. And in the Freshers Fair, we're looking at opening a subscription page to where freshers can subscribe to the page and get recent updates about SU events.
Okay, just parroting what we said in our manifesto about finances, we're going to look to get more local sponsors. So for example, with the football team, they're sponsored by Byron Burgers. So just to like, for example, Sam's, there's people go to Sam's after SU events. So they make a lot of money from us, so they should at least like sponsor us. Like that. And also we're going to work closely with VP Finance and the rest of the SU exec team and work closely with the SU bar just to try and get more deals, for example, like VOD balls for £1 or something like that. Went to Birmingham like a couple months ago and their drinks are really cheap. And like just to make sure our events are like run smoothly and like actually great, we're going to need a lot of money. So just to help with the cost of things, we're going to run bake sales like fairly often to raise some more money for events.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, I'm going to start at the back and make my way forward. Kat.
So my first question is, are they aware that events officers used to be called bar officers? And have they spoken to Rich and Kenton, RV, their experience and advice for the role of events officer?
Are you happy to ask that?
Yes, I've got one more.
Yes.
If they're aware, for the first time ever, this year's events officers hosted the SU Showcase. How do you think they can improve on that? And what new ideas can they bring to the ball table to try and beat this year's events officers?
Cool. Are you happy to ask that?
Oh, yes.
Stephen?
So they've got some really good non-drinking event ideas, but they've been tried before and they're not often amazingly well attended. What can you bring us new to the table to ensure their success? And one more.
Yes.
Thank you. So how feasible may some of your larger events be, considering that it's such a large brand constraint and the events may cost several hundreds of pounds?
Yes. Okay. Mark?
Apart from the internet spamming that has been used to promote events in recent years, how else do you intend to promote events?
Are you happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Okay. And Matt?
How do you intend to advertise to and appeal to graduate students and members of staff who may also be interested in attending?
Are you happy to ask that? Okay. And Haroon?
So the timings of certain events always seem to cause problems, most of those later ones. So how would you tackle this and allow everyone to partake in events?
Are you happy to ask that? Okay. And then Tash?
Twitter, have you contacted the previous event officers about how the events run?
Are you happy to ask that?
Can I add something on the
Yeah.
So it's just what, like, if you haven't contacted them, what have you learned from the current?
That's practically the same question. Okay. Who else had their hand up on that row? No? Okay. So, Annika, sorry.
You probably require need tech for a lot of your events. How do you plan to work with tech officers?
Are you happy to ask that? Cool. Corey?
I got two. So if the role of events is quite stressful, how do you feel your group dynamics will cope with this stress?
Okay.
And my second one is, how do you plan on ensuring you get accurate feedback from the student body regarding the events you hold?
Are you happy to ask them? Perfect. Deva?
Can I add someone to Steve? Can you put refreshers in there as well? And not my finance that talks about refreshers, and one team talks about refreshers. But is it mentioned?
As in refreshers instead of thing for the issue.
Or how do you feel about bringing refreshers back?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, it is a thing. So yeah, do you want to tag that onto the end of yours, or Deva? You wouldn't know where to put it. Okay. Who else? Yes, Victor.
What do you plan on doing to make the SU more attractive compared to local venues?
Are you happy to ask that? Perfect. Anyone else got any other questions? Sorry, Fran.
Yeah, slightly simple. What measures did you take to ensure you fully understood your roles? Did they reach the institution?
Okay. Are you happy to ask that? Okay. Anyone else got any other questions? Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll bring them in. Okay, so we're going to start off with Alia's group first, which is you guys. So your first question comes from Kat.
Hello. So are you aware that events officers used to be called bar officers? Have you spoken to our current bar managers, Kenton and Rich, for their words of wisdom and opinion on your new roles of events officer?
No, I don't think so. We haven't. We haven't. But it's definitely something that we should probably do. Talk to them, as definitely their input would be fantastic. So thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, and Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think the main thing with us is like we actually have to get the role first before we start talking to them and stuff. And yeah, that would be really good to talk to them and just get their insight on the previous year and how they like sort of run the events and stuff.
But we have been told that they play a key role in SU events, so we are looking into talking to them.
Okay, so next question's from Kat, and we'll start off with Ola's group this time.
So this year, our events officers gave us a brand new event to never been done before, SU Showcase. How would you improve on this? And what new ideas are you going to bring to the table to beat this year's events officers?
Well, we want to continue the showcase because we heard that they're trying to put it into the constitution, so we definitely want to continue it. But to better it, probably more advertisement, because I didn't know about it until the day of the showcase. And as for the new ideas, we have more themed events, so hopefully a Comic-Con and Dom theme party and the movie night as well. But we're definitely planning to keep the showcase because it was a huge success.
And I thought what was really nice about it is that Tanisha at the end, she gave half of her prize money to charity. So if that's just like a general thing where you
30
compete
seconds.
for a charity or something like that, it could like tie in with rank and stuff like that. And I think just mainly just like pulling like different events together for like mainly like international people to get them involved with the issue, because I know I live with loads of international people in my accommodation and loads of them just don't like get involved with student activity and stuff like that. So just
10 seconds.
Focus on like trying to integrate them into the student society.
Okay, thank you. And Alia's group?
So we helped sell tickets and promote for the showcase. So we know like what goes into it. Like we put a lot of work into that. So obviously like we just help promote more, make sure people are aware about the events, like go around, really encourage them to get tickets. In terms of new events, like we want to make our non-drinking events things that everyone can attend, not just like non-drinkers. We want to make it something that everyone can attend and like bond with each other over. And like the obstacle course Olympics, because it's not just sitting down and talking to people, it's actually like working in a team, bonding, getting sports involved. We feel like people will be excited. And
with the showcase, if we wanted to make it better, I think maybe we could have sort of like a midway act that wasn't in it, so someone from outside maybe break it up a bit.
Thank you.
10 seconds. Okay, thank you. Next question's from Stephen.
Hi guys. So you've had some great non-losing ideas. but previously they've been tried before and they're not amazingly well attended. What can you bring us new to the table to ensure that the events are a success?
Shall I go for it? Well, like, just making it very active. So as you're saying, the obstacle course thing, that's definitely something that I would straight away do. And I presume a lot of people would do the same. You know, you don't want to make it dull or anything, just exciting, promoting, making sure everybody knows that it's going on. And, you know, especially during Freshers Week, the drinking could get a little bit much. So, like, it's good to have something where you don't have to drink and, you know, join in.
Yeah, like as Cam said, it's really important to integrate like the drinking and the non-drinking events, as well as having like really fun events like the obstacle ones, but also like more chill ones, like the cinema ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
just want to offer variety.
Okay, Ellis Green?
Yeah, I think we should improve on existing events. So I know during like, it was like near Freshers time, they had like an international week where they brought in like loads of different foods from around the world. So if we like incorporate our idea of wave your flag, and it not just be like one lunchtime where loads of people come in and enjoy different cultures from around the world, but like it's like a whole like massive thing where it's like taken out of just lunchtime, it's maybe done after one time, maybe on a Wednesday when it's half day or something like that.
And we also thought about like going to halls and making
30
non-alcoholic
seconds.
cocktails with some of the freshers that didn't drink, just to ensure them that they can still come to events and have fun without drinking.
Okay. Next question again from Stephen.
So, investors really good ideas for mainstream events. How feasible may some of the larger scale events be at the SUs under such a large financial constraints as some of the events may cost several £100s?
So just again, we're trying to fundraise, doing bake sales and things like that. I think with us trying to get different sponsors, like for example, with like a Halloween party, could maybe say to the people that are like responsible for decorating or something like that, like you could just say, oh, if you could sponsor us, like you can get a discounted fee for the year of all our themed events of like, the different like props we use to transform the SU from just a boring dull place into like this place that we all come together and have so much fun at.
30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, so our big thing was sponsorship. So like contacting organisations and offering to put their logo on like our t-shirts or merchandise or leaflets, etc. We feel like that could help like raise extra money, and that could go into like decorations and stuff that would make the events like funner.
Okay, perfect. So your next question comes from Mark.
You talked a lot about promoting events in your speeches, but apart from the internet spam that has been used to promote events in recent years, how else do you intend to promote?
Well, I presume just going round to people and telling them it's a very good way. So word of mouth. Of course, the internet spam is a good way of doing it, but yeah.
I think like the execs and the events officers are some of the first people, like as freshers and as new students that you meet, and just being like really approachable and like always communicating, getting people excited for things when they first meet you. So for example, when you move people into halls, just making them aware of like what will be going on in the week to come by word of mouth. Yeah.
30 seconds.
I think lecture style asks to work with like the year reps to get it advertised in lectures so people know whilst they attend. Also, posters, put them in better locations so people can actually see them, because not a lot of them I don't see it. And we also talked about our subscription page, so people that actually were interested and wanted to get involved with SU events would be spammed through the subscription page, but they would want to, so it's not unwanted. Sorry, guys.
And for the people that don't live at halls, just with our Freshers Fair
30
school, we'll just
seconds.
have like a sort of like mailing list where you can just like add people's email to it, and then you can just like contact them every like week or so on new events and things like that.
Okay. And your next question comes from Matt.
With the events you're planning, how do you intend to advertise to and appeal to graduate students and staff members that they want to attend?
Well, we've been told that there's also a Jet Freshers, so hopefully at that we're hoping to input our subscription page and get them involved and get them notified about our events, and also again posters, and then sign up to our email so that we can also email and contact them about our events as well. And also we realised that the theme of
30
events
seconds.
is where loads of students come. So like back to school, I didn't meet any freshmen, I just met loads of older years. So I realised that everyone comes to that. So hopefully more themed events will get more people involved.
Okay, Ali's group.
Well, we've spoken to some JEPs and talking about their Freshers Week. They enjoyed all the sushi making and stuff like that they did, but they also said that they'd have liked to have it's because there's less of them, so it's not so feasible. They'd have liked to have the bigger sort of disco nights that we've had. So I don't know, we thought about maybe looking at directing them towards sort of the University of London things and holding something at the SU first or something like that.
And then leading them onto that, and also letting them know that they're definitely welcome to come to our Freshers events as well.
Yeah.
Not a side door really to the main Fresher events.
Because I think JEPs can feel sidelined
30 seconds.
a little bit.
Okay. And your next question comes from Haroon for Alia's group.
Basically, timing has always been an issue when it comes to events. How would you tackle this issue so that everyone can partake in the events?
Do you mean discos?
Later on, so the events during the night, a lot of people can't attend them because they need to travel. Basic jokes.
Don't know. That's quite difficult.
It's not much.
There's not that much that I guess you can do. But
I think with the feedback forms that we get from this year, it'll be really interesting to see how people feel about the timings and what would be more feasible for them.
Talk to commuters and JEPs themselves, gauge what
30 seconds.
What they want out of events and what they just get their input and then plan.
Okay, Ola's
I
group.
feel to cater to them, we need to do more daytime events, and not only that, but just for example, Kalani, he worked in Surrey, but then he always came down to SU events. So it really comes down to the fact that if you really want to integrate with the community, then you're going to come down regardless.
And we have many friends that don't live at halls as well. So what they did was when they came to events, they kind of stayed over with us and then went home the next day. And it's kind of just promotion of that they can come to events. And if they do have friends that live at halls, they can stay there. But like Ola said, it's more promotion of daytime events so that everyone can get together and have fun together. And possibly
Okay, so the next question comes from Twitter, from Tash.
Yeah, so have you contacted the previous events officers about how events run?
Ola's group.
Well, I've spoken to them, but not in depth with any of how events run. But I've been in many shows and I've seen the sort of effort that's put into doing something of that scale in uni. So I have some idea, and can obviously talk to them during the next year maybe.
Okay.
So we know Corey, Derva, Annika and Mitzi quite well, and if we've helped them out with some of the events, so we've actually seen the time and the effort and the planning that goes into it. So this helping out really validated the fact that we do want to do this, we do want to dedicate time to this.
Yeah, and we had a variety of roles. So we helped backstage, we helped with ticket selling, we helped with setting up for disco. And we realized the amount of time it actually took to put into it, and it was a lot of work, but it was definitely manageable, and we actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we actually had fun
30
doing
seconds.
it, so it's something we wouldn't mind dedicating time to.
Okay, so the next question comes from Annika for Alia's team.
You're probably going to need tech for every event. How do you plan to work with tech officers to aid your events, and what is available?
Well, we'll make sure that anything that we're planning, they know about it way ahead, so they've got plenty of time, and if they're not available, then we can change it about. And talk to them before we set any plans in place, so that, because we don't know what's actually feasible, they do. So just make sure that we they know what they're talking about and we don't really.
Yeah, we don't want to like go ahead and have all these crazy ideas and like advertise them before we know that it's actually something that can be put on within like a budget.
30 seconds. Okay. And over to you.
Or maybe just like work with them to like set up a scheme to maybe like introduce some of the freshers or second years to like how they actually run events. So whether they're there or not, like people are still there to make sure that events go on, sort of thing.
And also, like Francesca said, work with them whilst planning events so that we work to each other's demands and timing.
Okay. So your next question comes from Corey.
So my first question is, so the events job can be quite stressful. How do you feel your group dynamics will benefit you?
Oh, well, we're all quite close, quite best friends. But so we work really well together. We revise together. We're together most of the time, so we like work really well together. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and so we can work each other around that. So
you don't take life too seriously, so.
You don't.
30 seconds.
We've all had experience in planning big events, and we've been in shows here at uni, so we know what goes into it, and we know how to manage our time well.
Okay. And yeah, same with us. Like we're all really close. Like all get on really well, and I think there's 4 of us, so it will be like easier to handle, like distribute the work.
I don't feel any of us are particularly Skypers, so we'll all. So it won't be one. It won't be one person doing all the work, and the rest of us sat back watching the other person do it. We'll all spread it out evenly, as Alia said, and make sure everybody's pitching in and doing the work evenly.
Yeah, and we've all had a bit of experience doing it together already, so we know when we clash, and we know that we can pretty much get on with it most of the time.
Yeah, and having seen what stress and effort and whatnot goes into it, it's something we want to do, so we're willing to go through that.
Okay. Next question's from Corey again.
So my next question is, how do you plan on ensuring you get accurate feedback from the student body regarding the events you hold?
We've heard that there's feedback being gathered at the minute, so we'll look at that and then make sort of formal feedback in that sort of way, giving out a survey kind of thing, and then social media feedback, what's the word? Encouraging people to approach us personally.
And yeah, I think we were thinking about potentially doing after like big finale events and stuff like that, like just a couple of days after that's going, just spreading around, a bit of a survey just to see how they thought went.
Maybe like work with like Dragon and TV, because I know they do some like interviews, doing thing. Just if we just like tell them, maybe just ask them like informal questions about the event so far and like how it's going and stuff like that. Obviously, look to your survey you're doing at the moment. And I found that with like the SGL email like surveys with the survey monkey, I feel like people don't do as much as like just a quick poll on Facebook, which is like really easy to do, and it shows the numbers. So it's the same thing, really.
Okay. So the next question comes from Derba.
Hey guys. This year, as you may know, we didn't carry out a refreshers week. How would you feel about bringing it back next year?
Refreshers week.
Do you guys? Well, we definitely thought about bringing back a refreshers week, as like we did kind of have our own refreshers, and we thought that it would be better to integrate it into the whole uni, because it was just a de-stressor from exams, and it was just kind of something to bring everyone back together again after revision. And we also heard from most of the old years that it was something that had been done before, and they really enjoyed it. So hopefully bring it back. We'll create that.
Yeah, same with us. Like we loved freshers. We're really sad when it was over, and like still miss it. So having a refreshers, would definitely be something on our priority. I think when we came back in January, we still, as first years, had about a month till exams. So I think people would be like fine with like dedicating a week.
But of course, still got to make sure it's feasible. So we, don't come up with all these great ideas and realise that we've blown a load of money on the original freshers and can't do it. So go and
Just
make sure.
plan it in advance.
Yeah, plan, organise it.
Seconds. Okay. Next question comes from Victor.
Hey guys, what plans do you have to make the SU more attractive compared to local venues?
Yeah, so we talked about in our presentation, we talked about like decorations, like putting more money into that, like making it more of an exciting place to be. Yeah, just like themes.
Yeah, because some, like, not all events, but some events it's been predominantly freshers, and I think that's just because kind of like when it's sort of the same thing, old years maybe just it's not exciting to them anymore. So if we did like the decorations and stuff like that, really transformed it into something different every time, it wasn't just going to the same old SU.
30 seconds.
It might be
Yeah, like it would excite people more and make them want to attend.
Okay, Hustings.
Yeah, and speaking to older years, there used to be an alternative room where they played alternative music. So it was one of the boardrooms, and like if we like reintroduce that and maybe like play alternative music and maybe do a couple surveys to like ask student body what kind of music do you like, because I'm sure not everyone likes the SU music all the time, and maybe want to maybe want to go to the alternative room, maybe like introduce different DJs, because I know sometimes like Matt DJs and Victor DJs, and we know the person in our year how he DJs as well. So just doing that sort of thing.
And I guess a different room would be a different like scenario, so I guess they're not the same.
Yeah. And with the more themed events, we found that, like for example, back to school, there's loads of people from different years there. Like I think themed events is something that pulls like all different years together. So doing more of those themed events is something that would be good as well.
Okay. And the next question from Fran for Otis Group. Hi. What measures did you take to ensure you were prepared for the role before applying, and have you actually read the Constitution to look at the events officer's role?
We read our role, yes, and we talked to Mitzi beforehand, and we got an idea of what it was that we had to do, and in terms of like the planning and the time that would be dedicated to the role. So
And like we said before, we've all been in the show, so we've learned from our mistakes on how to balance our studies and like being in the show or having a major role at uni. So we've kind of like integrated that and understand what we need to do to make sure everything is done and on time.
30 seconds.
And even during freshers, we sometimes saw the previous events committee like setting up like when we just finished lectures. So just imagine from like 5 p.m. all the way up until the time. So we're prepared to like carry out the role, and we know what it entails. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, Claudia's Group.
Yeah, like we've mentioned before, we've helped set up at like discos and helped out with showcase, so we know like what goes into it, how much time goes into it, like what needs to go where the tables go, how many people you need to help. Yeah, so we're definitely well aware of like what our responsibilities are.
Okay, thank you guys, that's all. Next, we've got our heritage officers, Georgina and Seb. You guys have 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so hi everyone. We are Georgina and Sebastian, and we're running for Heritage Officers this year. So I'm Georgina, and I've had 2 years' experience on the SU. I've been a sports officer and an environment ethics officer this year. I've also been the secretary of the Ladies Hockey Club, so it's kind of committee positions, and I was the producer of the Musical Society for 2 shows.
Hi, I'm Sebastian. I was the director of music study for 2 shows with Georgina, so I've stuck around there for quite a long time. I've spent a lot of time in the SU. I wouldn't say I've been part of it, but yeah, I was the associate secretary of the boat club, and well, I'm both a spider and a cobra, which apparently is important for this role. So, G.
So yeah, if we just outline some of our main policies for the upcoming year should we be elected. Obviously, it's quite an exciting year. There's going to be a lot of change next year with our new principals, so it's quite an important year for Heritage. One of the things we'd really like to do is start to write a regular article in the alumni magazine. That's something that before I actually came to George's, I weirdly got hold of. And the Heritage officers then had an article that so they were writing about what goes on in the Students' Union. I know in the past the president's done this, but it's something we'd like to take on again and start to write. We're also really keen to develop more non-drinking events for the upcoming year, because obviously heritage, you think of a lot of fairly drinking events, and there can be really successful other daytime events, and like the Tea with History has been really good in the past, and we'd like to have regular showcases of some of the materials from the archives as well, so holding that in the boardrooms or something as well. And the other thing we're really looking forward to doing is we're both regular attenders of discos and quite keen on them. We'd really like to be judging the best dressed costume-wise at the discos, with incentives like bar tab and displaying it on a board in the SU perhaps. I believe some of us have actually won that award in the past, so got a bit of experience there as well.
You asked me into the best dressed at Christmas Disco 2011, guys, so don't be starstruck. Whilst we're going to be introducing a lot of non-drinking events, we also want to make sure that drinking events are also upheld, as they're quite a good money spender for the SU. As Stephen will surely ask in this dire financial times, we will be helping out along there. So on top of that, we'll also sort of ensure we get a good rapport with Ones with 8 and all the pubs along that way, and sort of try and limit the number of things that get stolen every year. So it's an interesting step. We want to make sure St George's Day gets probably celebrated this year. I know this year we haven't really seen much in the way of sort of proper George's spirit. I mean, we are at St George University after all. So we want to do sort of stuff in the week building up to it and in the day, but also maybe a discotheque in the in and around the evening. So and we also want to bring back the George St George's pub and social crawl from Old St George's to New St George's to really sort of bring back heritage to High Students Union. Thank you very much, Chief.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Alice?
I was going to say, how do you feel about the current Ones with 8 stewarding system, and do you feel it is adequate for the safety of our students? And then I had a second question about how do you feel the proposed change to solely the student participation zone will impact their role?
Okay, and Deva?
What are their plans for the George's Festival, and how are they going to make sure that it has a good turn?
Okay. Who else had questions? Sorry, Shash?
Yeah, a lot of our heritage is shared with the trust, obviously, and I was wondering how they plan on working with the trust as like promoting George's heritage.
Okay, are you happy to answer?
Yes.
Captain?
What is George's heritage, and is it a dying ember?
Are you happy to ask that?
Yep, I also got that one.
Wait. Yeah.
What is your legacy? What would be your tradition as a heritage officer?
Are you happy to ask that?
Oh, yes.
Stephen?
So George's faded out because people lost interest and then tend to resurrect the event.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
George's faded out as people lost interest as they tend to resurrect the event.
Are you happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm asking?
I didn't hear the second bit.
It's very similar.
How would you make sure it has a good turn?
Okay. Mark?
This is quite similar to the cat's question, so can you tag it on is what is George's spirit and how can you improve it?
Oh, I like that one better. I'll do that one.
Okay. Matt?
With regards to heritage events, do you intend to only hold up to current traditions, or do you intend to try and create new traditions of your own?
Are you happy to ask that? Okay. Tash?
So I've got 3 from Twitter. Have you spoken to previous heritage officers? 2, there have been changes to the heritage constitution proposed this year. Will this affect how you approach the role? And will you continue with the previously established Heritage Week, and why?
Okay, are you happy to ask those? Okay. And anyone else have any other questions? No? Okay. Okay, so your first question comes from Alice.
My first question is, how do you feel about the current stewarding system for Ones with 8, and do you feel it is adequate to ensure the safety of our students?
Okay. Well, obviously, there are real incentives to being a student, and some people kind of get on board with that. It's not something that's particularly well advertised. Maybe often there's not enough. I think that if there were more stewards present, it would sort of increase the safety of our students and also of clubs of Wandsworth, and possibly having sort of more top four presence also as well as sort of obviously.
I don't agree with that. I think it's more the pubs that are in danger rather than students, to be honest. Same point of view.
30 seconds. Okay, next question from Alice.
How do you feel about the proposed move of heritage officers to solely the student participation zone, and how this will impact the role?
Okay, well, I think that it's obviously something that is important to engage students with, and I understand that sort of participation, like we want to get people excited about heritage, we want people to feel enthusiastic in the film. I think losing it from the communication zone possibly, it's nice to be able to sort of communicate and show off our heritage to everyone. So obviously that's not an element that wants to be lost, but maybe just sort of less focus on that and more on sort of events and engaging our current students, etc.
Okay. Next question's from Shash.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of our trust, a lot of our heritage here is shared with the trust next door. And I was wondering what your plans were to work with them to promote heritage.
In response to that, we haven't got any plans as of yet, but it's a great path to go down to really iron some out.
Okay, next question's from Derva.
Hi. Georges to Georges has faded out over the years because we've lost interest. What are your plans for your pub sport, and how will you make sure it has good interest?
Well, we're going to spend the entire year drumming up interest in St George and his pub crawls. So through our sort of very active year of heritage, by the end everyone will be very excited for it. But obviously you're quite limited by a George to George pub crawl because it has to be going from Pipeline Corner down to Tooting. So
I mean, I think it just maybe the loss because it hasn't actually been done is possibly why no one's going to it. And I think that actually by having an increased presence of heritage throughout the year rather than just sort of focusing on maybe 1 or 2 weeks of
30 seconds.
events, I think that will sort of increase and build up towards the end.
Okay, you've got 2 questions from Kat next.
Hi guys. So, what will be your legacy as a heritage officer?
me personally or me, Angie? Our legacy, our joint legacy.
I think you've got your point on this one, haven't you?
Well, I think we're going to take heritage and we're going to make it a whole year-round thing. It's not just for Christmas. It's not just for a week. Heritage is for life. We're going to take it. We've got some great ideas. We've got all these non-drinking events we want to bring in. We also have discussed having a new drinking event as well, to have 3 different terms, with the spiders, with the cobras, and with our new drinking event, which could be called scorpions, which is all very exciting. So, you know,
30 seconds.
No, join me up on Facebook. It's a great. I'll draw you a diagram if you want, but I haven't got time to do it.
Okay, your next question. Shh.
My other question is, what is George's spirit? Is it a dying ember? And how do you intend to improve it?
I actually disagree. I don't think it's a dying ember. I think it has decreased in the past, in the last couple of years. Actually, this year, our freshers have been really engaged. I have to say, like, from experience, I think we can look at tonight, we can look at how many people are freshers here that are interested. I don't think it's dying at all. I think it's something to build upon and to try and grasp back a bit of sort of when we first started and how things were then.
I think to add to that, sort of bringing back sort of rewarding people for sort of going out all out with costumes for discos. I think maybe liaising with tech officers and making sure that Christmas
30
disco actually
seconds.
has more Christmas music played with it, and maybe sort of making sure bikini weather is instigated every single visit. So really bring back the whole spirit of what we're all about. But I think having a year-round event will definitely help us out as well. So, yeah.
Okay, your next question's from Matt.
Sort of half answered this bit, but with regards to heritage events, do you intend to only uphold current events that are known in a tradition, or do you intend to create traditions of your own?
Well, as mentioned, the new Scorpions event, which I'm very happy you've asked me about now, because we've got sort of just more of a minute to talk about it. No, we're very happy to uphold the events that have worked, and there are a lot of events with heritage that have worked. We very much want to keep it going and build on them. But we also, like I said before, want to build these non-drinking events and make them as important as the drinking events to the entire calendar. And Scorpions.
Okay, you've got 3 questions from Twitter next. Tash?
Will you continue with the previously established Heritage Week, and why?
So I think it's sort of something that a lot of thought has gone into, and on the whole, campaign weeks aren't the most, people don't really engage in them as much as people, as an exec, I think we like to think that they do, and it's not something that people are maybe as interested in. Suddenly just throwing out a week of events and everyone's a bit like, what's going on, why is this happening, and then it just dies down again. It's not as successful in engaging people as we like to think they are. So I think rather than having a specific week when actually you go Green Week and you're
30 seconds.
Heritage Week, etc. It's maybe less important, and actually having more year-round events and more throughout the year, but sort of middle and often rather than one whole week.
Okay, next question.
Have been changes to the Heritage Constitution proposed this year. Will this affect where you approach the role?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's sort of, as touched upon earlier, obviously it's shifted zones, and I think that's quite an important change in sort of the reflection of what being a heritage officer means, and sort of participation being sort of focused now rather than maybe communication. I think sort of losing the necessity of a week or so, just ensuring we've got like a week's worth of events spread throughout the year and things like that.
I'd like to just add from the table late perspective, I've got no idea what zone shift means. And I think more importantly, we should make sure that heritage is brought back to the student populace. So regardless of what the Constitution says, we want to make it very much about sort of every student getting involved.
Okay, and one more.
Have you spoken to the previous Heritage officers?
Well, thank you for asking, Twitter. We've spoken to Dima and Michael, who are heritage officers, obviously recently. We know that this year actually heritage hasn't been as sort of big as it was maybe that year, so we really want to make sure that they're the ones we spoke to first. Hi to Michael on Twitter for asking that question. Sad you're not here, mate. But we will get a proper handover with them as well and get really sort of learn what works well with them and what they really think of that as well.
Should we be elected?
Should we be elected, indeed?
30 seconds.
Well, not run, as it's more.
Perfect. Okay, yep, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
So we've got the international officers next. So we've got Chantal and Kola, and also Alia and Yuki.
Hello.
Hello. The other guy's already left.
Yeah.
Make it large and then I'll put it on the
Make it large, you said. Yeah. So I just make sure I can control it with the other
Bye, guys. Ready? Yeah. Okay, so you've got 3 minutes.
Hi, we're Chantal and Kola, and we're running to be your international officers. So I'm Chantal, and I'm from Singapore, and I'm on the MBBS 5. And this is Kola, and she's from Nigeria/America, and she's on the MBBS 6 Into program. We're both in our first year, and we come from like quite different backgrounds. So we think that we'll be able to relate to a wide group of people. And so we complement each other quite well, and we think that we'll be able to represent the international students regardless of how long their flight to England takes.
All right, so why us? We believe that we'd be great international officers because we really enjoy getting to know different people and their cultures. Also, we understand what it's like to live in a foreign country because we do both come from foreign countries. And we are really happy to use our time to enrich your experience here in the UK. And so that's basically about the student experience. We want internationals to feel like their experience here will be fulfilling and a really happy thing to go through, because it's really tough to like leave home and come to another country and then not enjoy it. So we want to make sure they enjoy it as much as possible. So how are we going to do that? We have some initiatives planned. These are the goals that we plan to achieve if we are elected. First of all, we want to collaborate with the International Student Society. Sorry for talking so fast, but I have to get through this all. Basically, we want to work really close with ISS to make sure that we have a really supportive international community going on. We also want to liaise with Elizabeth Witter, who is the International Student Advisor. And so we're just going to have like meetings with her to discuss more, official issues, such as getting a national insurance number if you want to apply for a job here. It's sort of like different for international students when we have to go through stuff like this, and updating the pre-departure guide so that all the information will be current on there. Third, we'd like to produce a current students guide, which will be applicable to people who are already here in the UK. So when we get here, things like how to get a driver's license, where to buy your specialist groceries for your traditional cuisine. We want to produce a current students guide for those kinds of things.
So apart from that, we're thinking of organizing more social events. So this year they've had like the Chinese New Year dinner and a barbecue, but we'd like to organize other things such as like picnics, boat parties, international potlucks, plays, musicals, museum visits, festivals, and other things such as like celebrating festivals from around the world, like Holi, which is an Indian color festival. Apart from that, we're thinking of planning trips. So trips like around London, around the UK, for example, like a trip to Edinburgh, like Cornwall or something, or to like a close by EU country, so that we can experience like British and European culture since we're here. Apart from that, we're thinking of establishing partnerships with organizations, so working more with the into students, and also, for example, an organization like Host UK, which is a non-profit organization which allows international students to visit a British household in various parts of the UK and spend like a weekend with them to learn more about their culture and daily life. And apart from that, we're thinking of raising funds for global relief as well.
All in all, we just want to say there are 85 nationalities of students represented here at George's, and we want to be able to integrate all of them. Yay, thank you.
Real good. So hey guys, I'm Yuki.
I'm Alia. Sorry.
This is Alia, and then we're running for international officers. So just a little bit about us. We're both internationals, and then we both have some sort of experience around these areas. I used to be the head of student council back in my high school.
And I used to be head girl, and I am also the Into Year Rap.
And then that means that she has a bit of in-depth when it comes to these international ends. So we don't have a lot of time, so we're just going to point out the main points that we really want to get across. One of them is the transcript. For us, for the lack of better words, sometimes we can find the recordings a little bit hard to understand. Sometimes it might be the accent, sometimes it might not be. And then so we thought up that maybe if you have a transcript of the recordings for lectures, that might be easier for us.
And so the way the transcript works is we just send the recording into a company or online with different things where you play it, and automatically a transcript will be sent, and that can go up to Moodle with the recordings. So for people who miss it out, they can then read through it, but anyone who's an auditory learner can still listen to it.
Now, another obvious thing is the integration between international students and national students. But personally, I think that's quite fine. I can look in this crowd and point out some of my friends, and I'm quite proud to say that. But there's always any room for improvements and things. And so we were thinking that we could improve some of the tours that they do for international students, perhaps even do a tour within the uni itself. And then, of course, work with the ISS for socials.
And the other thing is inform people about the Into St. George's app, which I know a lot of people don't know about, which isn't, I mean, it is limited to more Into, but it still does have things like maps of the uni and then information for new students. And the other thing is is having a special Q&A page on the SGSU app with a Q&A, and that I know they have one anyway, but people don't really use it, so to allow publicize